All right, here we go with step 7, guys. Making the filler panels. Definitely busting out the skills now. But you know, I hadn't done any of this stuff before I started doing it for this Jeep either. So if I can do it, you can do it. So now it's time to make those panels. And I used 50-52 aluminum sheet. If you have some other sheet like 60-61, you will have to anneal it. Otherwise, it will not bend nicely and will break. Yeah, so buy the right stuff, man. And a fairly thin gauge that work with your 3-in-1 machine. So make all the panels out of paper first. And I don't recommend cardboard because it's just too thick. Place and mount the paper panels onto your Wrangler. Actually screw them in first to make sure they are perfect before tracing them onto aluminum sheets, cutting them out with your aluminum sheet metal shears, and you know, bending them and stuff. I mean, it's all good practice, but do it in paper first. So I had to build custom panels that tapered the 64-inch width of the Land Rover fenders. Yeah, it's a little bit wider at the fenders, but not at the fender flares, down to meet the 61-inch width of the Jeep at the windshield. So, you know, the Jeep at the rear is 63 inches, but at the windshield it's 61, and then it flares back out, you know, to the fender flares. Yeah, so regardless, the difference is 3 inches. I had to make up for that 3 inches. So therefore, the 1.5 inches on the side transition is not as dramatic as shown in the diagram here. I actually made it so gradual that no one other than those who watch this video will ever notice. So here, I'll show you what I did. So looking up, right, I got on the ground to take this picture and looked up. And here's how I did it. Notice the 1.5-inch taper from below the front door hinge to the front wheel well. See how it does that from just below the front door hinge all the way to the wheel well, right? There's a taper there with a slight bend in the panel. All right. So once again, here is the panel that I made out of thick paper. Take your time, be patient with yourself. You can definitely do it. So I had to do all this, yeah, I had to purchase a 3-in-1 machine from Harbor Freight to shape the aluminum sheets. It would cut it would bend it, and it would roll it to give me bend in the metal, which I absolutely had to have for the cowling end caps. I also had to buy one of these guys. It's called a stretcher, to shrink the top of the panel to match that of the Defender fender. So watch YouTube videos on how to use these pieces of equipment like I did, and you'll operate these machines just fine. So take your time making these panels. Be prepared to screw them up a few times. Make them again. Make them 10 times if you have to. Yeah, I've been there. Be patient and expect to trash the first several that you build. Make sure you purchase the correct aluminum sheet again for shaping. I preferred the 50-52. To make this curve below the front door, I'm saving you a lot of time here, man. You'll need to make a wooden buck out of some maple or oak, you know, about 3/4 of an inch or thick. And you'll need some shaping hammers. So watch YouTube to learn about this process. Here's what my buck made out of oak looks like. Make sure you practice and make everything out of paper first before committing to wood, and make sure things are tight and firmed up, man, or you'll be off by 1/4 of an inch, freaking out and thinking you're gonna fill it up with Bondo or something like that. Don't do it. So make the panels at the bottom first and then work your way up. And this is a very slight bend here, the red dotted line in the panel, right? Because it's got to bend there in order to flare out. Fasten your panels to the Defender panels with stainless steel bolts or Colecos if you want, and then prep and spray the inside with undercoat. Right? Yeah, here's a picture. I use Colecos to hold the panels together because I saw it on YouTube. Make sure you weld or rivet these tabs into place, which hold the fabricated panels onto the Wrangler. Here's where the fabricated panels mount to the Wrangler inside your door jamb. So that's why you need those tabs there to hold on to the Jeep. Yeah, we did it again. Finished step 7. So now on to step 8.